Isn't she cute? Look at her, right? She's pretty good.
Okay, Miss Daisy and Miss Roxy have gotten done playing. They've eaten, they did their business, and now they're ready to get crafting. Daisy's been coming down crafting for a long time. This is Roxy's first day. Actually, this is only the second day that we've had her. So she's ready to craft. So I'm going to keep her in her little crate right now and get started. So join me. Okay, I have a pretty quick tutorial to teach you about today. I think you have to have the designer edition or above, and I can check that right quick by coming up here to help, and I can say view in designer edition, and let's see if we have the nesting tool still. Yes, you still have the nesting tool right here. So if you have a designer edition or above, you can do this. So the first thing I did was, I have my new puppy that you saw, Roxy, and I just came up with a bunch of words that have something to do with a dog. I'm going to use this for sublimation. On one side of my mug, I'm going to have a picture of Daisy and Roxy, and I should probably put Daisy's name in here too. And then on the other side, I'm going to have this thing that I'm working on right now. Okay, it's going to be different, but that's okay. Okay, so the first thing I did, like I said, I came up with this group of words. Highlight the first one and come over here and change it to some other font. Get the second, and while I'm at it, I might as well change its color too. Right now it's this blue color. I'll come up here and maybe make it red. Okay, there's the next one. And I can make this one a different font. Just choose something I think I might like. And I think I want something a little bit bolder for their names. Let's see. So you can just have fun with this, just choosing different things. And I should, not work this hard at this. Okay, we'll just leave it like that. And I'll color it purple. And the word love. I'll change that to a different font. Just scroll down here and make it this one. And change its color. Could even do black if I want, but I'll do purple. Oh, I just did purple. I'll do green. Okay, and this one, Cuddles. Oopsie. So I'm just going through here and selecting these words and going ahead and changing them to a different font. Just have fun using the fonts that you have on your computer already, or in your software, I should say. And I forgot to change that one's color, but I'm going to show you a trick. Okay, so I'm going to go back through and make these a different color. And I said there's a nice, easy way to do it. So let's ungroup all these first. Ungroup. And there are going to be individual things. Did you see? Every one of these is its own individual thing. So now I am going to grab it all, right click and say make it a compound path. I'm going to make all of these a compound path. And you'll want to do that. Otherwise your letters won't stay together the way you need them to over on your mug. So what I do is I just go grab them all, right click, make compound path. Grab them all, right click, make it a compound path. And here's where I'm going to change the color of this one. I'm going to go ahead and make this one yellow. And instead of coming up here and choosing the yellow, I can use this little tool right over here, the eyedropper tool. So I have this selected, come over to the eyedropper tool and click on the color that I now want. And there it is. So I'll do the same thing with this. I'm going to right click and make it a compound path while it's still selected. I'll get the eyedropper and I can actually choose from one of these hearts down here if I want to, so I'll make it orange. There's this one, right click, make it a compound path, eyedropper, this particular eyedropper, and that, and then Daisy, right click, convert it to a path, eyedropper, and orange. Okay, all right, so we have all of these right here. And so what I can do now Let me grab these and move them over. And I'll show you why I'm going to use the hearts in a sec. Got to get these off of my mat. And I'm going to come over here and get a heart because I want a heart shape. Oh, we can't get the heart shape here. So if you don't have business edition, you don't get all the extra pieces. And I'll show you, this is one of the reasons why you might like to get the business edition. See here for the shapes, these are the only shapes we have. But if you go to the business edition, and I have it linked for you down below, if you go here and then come over here, look at all these shapes you get. So I want, whoopsie, I want the heart, and boy, there's so much you can do with these shapes as well. Okay, for my heart, I don't like it to be any bigger than like 3.5 inches tall because I'm using this on a mug, as I said, and on the other side I'll have a picture of the puppies. So I'll just make this about 3.25 inches tall and then whatever width it ends up being. So the next thing I'm going to do is come way over here to this panel, which is the nesting panel. Looks like two hands kind of crossed. Click on that to open it. And with this shape right here selected, I'm going to say set selected shape as boundary. So there's where I'm going to put my images. Now I'm going to make the padding maybe about 5 or 4. Let's see, make it 5. And I'm going to change the rotations down to none so you can see how that works first of all. So I'm going to grab all of these things and say nest. So that puts them in here, and you'll notice there's not a one of them that's turned wrong side or upside down or sideways or anything. So let's scroll back out, and I'm going to say undo. And this time I'm going to make my rotations a 1 or a 2. Let's see, I don't know if we can do a 1. Must be just a 2. And I'm going to grab these same images and or words and say nest. And now if I scroll in a little further, you can see what it's done is to fit more words, excuse me, it made some of them upside down. So let's scroll back out, let's undo, and let's make the rotations 4 and see if it looks any different. Okay, and then when they're 4, notice we're starting to get some that are vertical rather than all horizontal. So let's undo that again. And so you can keep playing with this. Maybe you want your rotations to be 8. Well, let's see what happens this time. Every time you need to undo it, and I'll show you why. If I go to nest, and it puts these in here, right? Okay, and got these pretty well in here. At first, I thought that I could just change some of these things over here and re-nest it. But I want you to see what happens. Let's see if I change this to a 12 and say nest. Okay, I changed what I was working on because this is the next day. But I'm going to still show you. If I change the padding and the rotation and say nest, that one looks like it turned out okay. So I'm going to hit nest again. And now I'm going to change the number of rotations and hit nest. Okay. On this one, you'll be able to see, let me scroll in a little bit for you because you'll see what happened. They got over top of each other. So you don't want to just keep hitting the word nest and changing things. Okay, this little chip thing will be coming up in just a minute. But before that, let's open a new page. And suppose you don't want to do letters. You don't want to do words. Not a problem. Let's come over here to the shape tool and notice all these shapes. If you don't have them, it's because you don't have the business edition of this software. I'll have a link for that for you down below if you want to upgrade. But I'm going to get the heart, and I'm going to draw a heart on here. And I'm going to duplicate it by holding down my Alt key and dragging one over. Now I'm going to go ahead and actually make a whole bunch of hearts. So I'm going to keep this regular, the normal size one over here. Alt, bring one of these over here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this one, come over here to the replicate panel, and I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to duplicate it 4 times to the right. replicate. So there we go, 4 times to the right. Take this one, grab them all, and just kind of do the spacing so it's like that, even horizontally. Then I'm going to grab these guys, hold down my Alt key, bring that down, and make them a little smaller. Okay, hold these guys, Alt, bring them down, maybe make them a little bit bigger. And again, Alt and down, and small, small, small. Okay, and then, let's see, I'm going to change some of their colors. So I'm going to change this one to red, purple, or something, whatever, green, yellow, orange. And so for these now, if I want to change these the same way, I can click on this one to select it, come down here to the Transfer Properties eyedropper, and then click on this, and it'll transfer the properties to that one. So click on this one, this eyedropper, and this, and it changes the colors. So this one, Transfer Properties eyedropper, and this is another function of the business edition. I think you'd have to have that to get this to work. Whoops, I changed that to the blue, and I really wanted it yellow. So I click on the one I want to change, eyedropper. What do I want to change it to? So again, I want to change this one. What do I want to change it to? This. Change this one to this. Change this one to this. Change this one to this. And let's see, change. And I'll just see, let's see, change this one to this. I'm going to delete this row right here and leave these alone. Then I'm going to grab this group right here, hold down my Alt key and drag them down. And then I can, with the colors already remade, just do like that. Whoopsie. Undo. And go back. Little. Bring these guys up here. All right, now I'm going to take the whole bunch of them and just hold down my Alt key and make another and another. So I'm going to put those into this shape right here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to the nesting panel and set selected shape as boundary. There we go. And I'll have my padding be about 5. My rotations may be 4, and we'll see what happens. I'll grab all of these and say nest. Oh, that turned out really well, you guys. I love it. That turned out really, really nice. Now, what I could do if I want to is bring this guy over. Let's Alt and make a duplicate of him. And I'm going to offset him first, just the teeny tiny offset. And I'm going to make its color be black. And then I'm going to go ahead and say, come to the modify panel and say subtract. So all I have is the offset now. So that's really pretty cool like that. And now what I could do is I could leave it just like this, and let's see what it would print like. File and print. Okay, pretty cool like that, right? Or I could cancel, and I could go like this, and object, release the compound path. And look what that does. And let's see what that would print like. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's cancel. And let's go back. Move this guy out of the way. Let's change all of these to white. Now I'm just playing around, you know? And you guys should play around as well. So then if I bring this back, oopsie, my mouse got stuck up here. Wonder what's going to happen if I say object, release the compound path. Oh, look at that. Isn't that cool? However, I got one of these that went over top of another one, and I'm not sure why, so I would remove that. But I think that turns out really cool. And again, you know, I could have, let's go back to where we were originally. Okay, so stop. I'm gonna bring this guy back, or let's go to the nesting panel again. The same heart will still show up until I change it on this page. So I'm gonna change the pad or the rotations to maybe 8. And let's see what happens now if I grab all these guys and say nest. Okay, we get a little bit of a different look. Cool. Go back. What if we change the padding a little bit? 8 and make this 4. I don't know. Let's check it out and see what happens. So I'm going to say nest. Okay, pretty cool. All right, now if we wanted to, we could go ahead and just bring this behind here and leave that like that. Or I could change the color of this by coming up here again and changing the transparency or the color, whatever I'd like. Just like that. And again, if we went to print, that's what it would look like. Cancel. And of course, don't forget that we can always go ahead and change these guys' colors if we don't like them right then. And hold down my shift key. Well, no. I'm going to grab one, hold down my shift, grab this one. I can even come over here and make it a pattern if I wanted to, like that. This one, maybe make it a different pattern. Okay, this one, make it a pattern. Just have fun with it, right? These are some of my own patterns that I downloaded. And of course, if I want to change this heart to have the exact same pattern as this one, all I have to do is get this transfer properties dropper. And so I clicked on this one. I wanted to change to this. Perfect, just like that. Don't forget also, when you have patterns, you can change the scale of the pattern. Okay. Let's say I want to change this one to this pattern. Have this selected, eyedropper, this, perfect. So now let's bring this over. I'm not crazy about that. I kind of liked it better black. And that looks like doesn't look like it's a very black. Nope, the transparency's on. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? I love it. Okay, here's one more thing that you can do. I went ahead and got Chip off of the internet. So let me show you. So here we have Chip, and he's probably not the best guy ever to use. Let me delete him and paste the Chip. Okay, this is what he looked like when he came in, right? Probably not the best thing to use for this technique, but you can choose any images off the internet and just follow this example. So the first thing I did was I just went ahead and traced him. Select the trace area, and I traced him. And I need to move this over so I can see. So obviously I didn't get all of him, so I can use this little box and just stretch it out. That looks perfect. So I'm going to say trace and detach is what I had done before. So there he is, and I can get rid of this piece. And I'm going to duplicate him a few times by holding down my Alt key and bringing a few over here just in case. So I put a bunch of words over here that go with the Beauty and the Beast, a few words, and I'm going to go ahead and use him like this as my nesting shape. Okay, before I add him as the nesting shape, I am going to write the word beast in here one more time. I want to show you, you can change, obviously, the font. And, let's see. Oops. Okay, I'll make it like that. Maybe make it a little bit smaller and change its color, perhaps to red. The last thing I need to remember to do, and you'll see why in just a minute, hopefully, is I need to remember to grab this, right-click, and say Convert to Path. I'm not going to do that yet, though, because I'm going to show you what will happen if I don't. So we're going to come down here to the nesting panel, and I'm going to say use the selected shape, because I'm going to select him. set the selected shape as the boundary. I'm going to click on that, and there he is. And that's why I made duplicates, because now that's all I have is the shape of him. Then I'm going to grab all of these and come over here and just say nest. Okay, like I said, you see the word beast? There's the B and the E, A-S-T. They're all messed up because I did not go ahead and right-click on this and say convert to path. Now once I've converted it to a path, and I want to make that name Disney something different, and just chip it a little different color maybe, because I don't want all the same. Oh, made it looks really close. There we go. Okay, so grab all these now and say nest. Okay, they fit in there pretty well, but I'm going to go back, undo and try it again. This time I'm going to say with paddings of like about a 5 and see what happens. Grab all these again and say nest. See, I don't like how there's all the same colors in here. So back, I think I'll get rid of one of these chips. Try this and nest. Okay, that's getting better, but look how they're almost all upside down. I'm going to go back one more time. For rotations, if I leave it at 0, they'll all be right side up. Check it out. See that? All of them are right side up. I could nest it again. I could do padding of 4. See what happens. Nest. Okay. I really wanted to get Beast in there a little bit, so let's get rid of one of these Disneys. Another one of these chips. Let's see what happens if I just use these. Okay, that's getting better, and I see Beast in there a few times. I could probably go ahead and adjust these a little bit myself if I want to. This, once they're there, so this, maybe I'll get rid of that beauty and move this one up a little bit and put this one in there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, and of course, if I want to change any of these colors, I can do so right now as well. So if we were going to print this just like this, let's go to File and Print so you can see what it's going to look like. Okay, you can't tell what that is, right? So let's cancel that. So that's why I saved these other guys over here, because I can do an offset on him if I want to, and then put the offset around here, because notice this blue line does not show up at all for printing. So I'm going to take this guy and say offset. So there's a little teeny offset around him, which is perfect. Then I'm going to grab both of these things by drawing a box around both. Going to come over here to this modify panel, that's the rectangle with the circle, and say subtract. And then all I'm left with is the offset, which I can now color whatever color I'd like. So, you know, maybe I wonder if I can come over here and make it a pattern color instead. Yeah, that's kind of cool. And then just turn off the line color by going there. So I could do that if I'd like. And I could change the scale. I kind of like it like that. All right, so now I can bring this over here like this and put it back right where it goes, like that. And now if we go to File and Print, you can more see that it's the shape of a chip. I don't really like that cloud stuff though, so I was just going through some of my patterns here to see what I liked. And again, I can change the scale. Well, let's go to print this one and see. File, print, and that's what it would look like that. The only other thing you could do if you wanted to is remove this and take this guy, and you could actually, I could trace him again. There's a couple things you could do. Trace him again and just say trace, move that out, and grab, oopsie, grab all this and say object, release the compound path, and then I could change it to one solid color if I'd like that, and hide those cut lines. Okay, and then, whoopsie, weld it and bring it over here and right click and send it to the back like that. Now some of my dark purpley letters won't show up that well. And of course, again, what I could do, I can make that a little bigger, is I could change the transparency of this. So back again over here and change the transparency like that. And if I wanted to, I could go ahead and add an offset to this as well. So you can keep building on this. I can make that offset black. Of course, that offset is really, let's see. I want the black to be really black. Ooh, I like the black. You know, I really like the black just like that. However, that'd be a lot of printing to do. And this, guess what? There was a word right here, too, that's not showing up. Let's see. I think it was the word beast. So I could copy this one and paste it. There's the word beast again. I could make it smaller. Could leave it that color or whatever I'd like. And that's pretty cool. If I want to print this now, you'll notice it's easy to see that it is chip and it looks really cool. Be a lot of black ink being used, but if that's what you like, cool beans. Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you is a way that you can save money in the way of materials by using the nesting tool. So let's just go over here and grab a few shapes. Get a star and this little donutty looking thing and oopsie, and this flower, and make it a little different. I can bring this guy over since he's already here. And this one. And maybe two more things. This and this. Okay, so let's just have these items on here. Now let's just say we're going to cut these out. Oh, actually, we're going to fit as many of these as we can onto our canvas to save us from wasting materials when we cut these things out. So I'm going to fix this a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and group everything or grab everything together. Hold down my control key and hit the arrow to the left. That duplicated it to the left. I'm going to do it again to the left, and I'm going to do it down and to the right and to the right. So that had me duplicate a whole slew of those really quickly. I'm just going to move them off to the side. So now I'm going to come over here to the nesting tool, and I'm going to use the cut area as where I can nest, and I'm going to grab all of these things and just say nest. And that's going to put as many of those things on there as is possible with these parameters that I've set here. So let's undo that for a second, and I wonder if we make the rotations, if I make the padding more, we're not going to fit as many probably. You see that? So let's undo that. I'll make the padding even larger so you'll get the idea. If the padding is big, that's how much space there has to be in between all of these. Let's undo that. So I'm going to make my padding again like around a 2, and I'll make my rotations, I'll leave that at an 8, and we'll go ahead and nest all these to see what will fit. And there we go. That will all fit, as opposed to if I tried to do this myself one by one, I wouldn't be nearly is able to fit that many. So this is on my 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. If I was instead using a larger sheet of paper, a custom size maybe, or how about this? What if I was using a 5 by 7 sheet? Let's move these over here. Wonder if that will work. Okay, so we're going to use the cut area, the 5 by 7. Grab as many of these as we can and say nest, and that's all that can fit in there for that. I'll undo these, and let's get some of these and say nest, and there's what fits there. So you see, you can just change the cut area and it'll nest them in here. Then you just send it to your machine and you've done a good job of having these all nested together without touching anywhere. Although it sort of looks like that is touching, but look, when I scroll way in, I can see indeed it is not touching, and these will cut out perfectly. So that's a really good use for the nesting tool too. So I hope you had fun with this tutorial and you learned some new things about the nesting tool. I hope you'll join me again on the next video. This is May 23rd, 2022. My next video will be giving you details on how you can win a Cameo 4. The Cameo 4 will be donated by Creative Fabrica. We're going to work together with them. Patty Ann's Place and Creative Fabrica are teaming up to give away a Cameo 4. So I hope you join me at the next one. Subscribe so you're alerted when it goes live. Thanks. Bye, y'all.